Hello, Adam Kopeć, Excel lover from Poland. Today we are counting sums and averages with condition. In our first example, we have a small table where we sell fruits and we want to sum up all the weights and we want to count the average on the single cell, the weight in the single cell. So, to sum the values with condition, we can use SUMIF function, and first argument of this function is a range on which we are checking the condition F4 to lock it. The second argument is criteria, our condition, so just a reference to a single cell with fruit name, and we don't have to lock it because we are going to copy our formula down and our products, our fruits are also down. Okay, so the third argument of the SUMIF function is sum range. In square brackets it means it's not necessary, but we'll talk about it more in our second example. So we want to sum values from the weight column F4 to lock it. And when we have all our arguments, let's look at our ranges and let's try understand how the SUMIF function works. The SUMIF will check every cell in product column, the first range we have given to it, and will check if there are the condition is met. So in the first cell are apples, so our condition is met. So in this situation, the SUMIF function is looking to our third argument, second range, on the same height, looking at the value on the same height and just adding it, so plus. And SUMIF will check every single cell in first argument, and then if the condition is met, it will sum up the value on the same height, So plus 2, plus 4, not apples, so it doesn't matter. Those numbers doesn't matter for SUMIF function, and apples in the last row, so plus 10. And in similar cases, it's working with average if. So our formula is ready. We can put it in a cell and copy it down. So we count how many apples we sell, pears and oranges. And now we want to count the average weight of a single cell. And to do it, we can just copy our SUMIF function from edit mode, escape, and go to second cell for average, and the arguments are the same for average if and SUMIF function, but instead of counting sum, the Excel will count the average if. So I have now average if function, and first argument is a range on which we are going to check the condition. Criteria is still the same, product name, fruit name, and the last argument change its name to average range, but it doesn't matter, it's still the same weight column. So I can put my formula in the cell and copy it down, and Excel nicely count average weight in the single cell for me. And in our second example, we want to check what will happen if we give average if or SUMIF function just two arguments. In this example, we just want to count the average cell, and we'll start with a simple average function without no ifs, without conditions. So just selecting this range, and we have our average from those cells. Now we want to count average with condition. We don't want count average when the value, like the sales, is 0. So we have a condition, a big one, a big condition. So average if function, we are selecting the same range as for average function, and then we are writing a condition. So the value cannot be equal 0. So in double quotes, I have to write smaller than, bigger than 0, close the condition, double quotes, and close our function. And when we don't write third argument for average if or SUMIF function, then Excel will take the first range as the range on which we are doing our calculation, so counting sums or averages. And so in this situation, Excel won't count this cell and this cell for average. Putting our formula, and we have a different result than in a simple average function, because our condition was triggered and Excel didn't count the cell with 0. And when we delete this value 0 from this cell, the average function and average if function will return the same result, because functions like average, sums, min, max doesn't consider empty cells. That the empty cells doesn't exist for them. But when we put 0 in a cell, the average function without condition will count it. So once more 0, and the average goes down, because simple average functions count those cells, and average f function doesn't, because of the conditions not equals 0. And for Excel, in most situations, empty cells are treated as 0.